Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 278 of the Fans of Power podcast. I am Nathan Kennedy. Joe Amato is already deep into our subject matter for this very special episode. Tyler Baker wanted no part of this, so he's setting out, of course. So, Joe, we are back. We are back with yet another Dark Horse Masters of the Universe release. I have a hard copy this time. Usually, I get the images on the internets and download them and just read it that way. But I went to the comic shop. I was like, I need to go. I haven't been in a couple, well, shit, it's probably been a month and a half, 2 months. So I went there, and oddly enough, I've been getting very into vintage G.I. Joes, wanting to amass more because my collection stems from about mostly 1989 figures to 92, 93, and I want to get the stuff from 83 to 87, right? So I go in there expecting nothing, and of course, in the glass case, there's tons and tons of vintage G.I. Joes, priced accordingly, so I didn't walk away with too much, but I got talking to the guy, and oddly enough, this comic shop is one that Tyler frequents all the time. It's just a hop, skip, and jump away from where he's always lifting his weights and getting big and everything. So the guy knows Tyler, and I was like, Tyler's into GI Joes as well, and he's like, oh really? I thought he was only into Masters Universe. I was like, no, he's into tons of other things. But speaking of Masters Universe, would you happen to have any of the Revelation prequel comic books that came out today? Because I didn't see any in the new release section. He was like, well. All of them, except for one, came in damaged. And I took that one and put it into Tyler's, he called it a file box, but, if you give them your name and everything, they can hold comics for you. And I was like, well, Tyler has no intention of reading this, trust me. And he was like, all right. He was like, all right, well, it's yours if you want it. So that I got the only copy that they had. And
all right. I'm sure you can see my level of excitement.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Got a new mask.
Yeah,
hey, new mask.
The subtleties on that one.
Well, first, let me say hello to everybody in the chat room. Then I'll get into my story of how I got the comic. Then we'll talk about this amazing comic. We have Johnny Cock, Tough Nerd Toys is here. JSP. I'm gonna do it again. Porrick Boylan. I'm going to call you Boylan. How about that, Porrick or Porrice? I'm going to screw it up every time, probably. Monkey Boy is here. Zen Brown is here. Brian Davis, thank you for joining us. Lyle Convoy is here. Grimbots joined us. Aaron Anderson, how's it going? He's here as well. And we have Spider Rat and 3 live stream. And I think Fedmon, I already said Fedmon. Sorry about that. Aaron Voorhees, thank you for joining us. I'll tell you about how I got this comic. I actually it's been a long time since I went to a comic store and got there early before they opened.
Was the last time when we were doing the multiverse books last year? Is that probably the last time you were there?
Well, I didn't even go there early. That's what I mean. This is the first time I went early. I was like, just in case, I was like, I don't know if this is going to sell like crazy, so I better get there real quick. So I got there 5 minutes early, and there was a line of like 22 people there. I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. So they finally opened the doors. I walk in. I'm in back of them, and I got a little close, and then I backed up because, my God, it smelled like must, really bad B.O., and like Fritos all together. I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't stand the smell.
That's the comic shop experience, Joe.
So I stepped back, got out the way, and then they're hoarding in there like crazy, grabbing all their shit. And the interesting thing is, out of all them people, not a single one grabbed this comic.
Of course not.
I was the only one that grabbed this.
Of course not, man.
I guess I don't have to worry about anything. But thanks, Lio. I appreciate that. He likes the additions to the box.
Yeah,
that's why I said.
Well, we had to add the Reese's Pieces in there.
Yeah, to add the Reese's. But let's get to this comic. So we're gonna dive.
Are you sure?
We're not even gonna.
I mean, do we? Yeah. We can always change the topic to something else if you want.
No, we'll just get right to it, and then we can talk with the chat later on. And hello, Medosa Customs, not Medusa, but Medosa. So there, he's like, I'm still awake just for this show. That's awesome. We appreciate that.
We appreciate you being here. And I'm sure there may have been. I purposely made the thumbnail with just you and I on there, so no one would get the idea that Tyler would be on here to rip up a comic or any of that stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to rip up the comic, even though.
Me neither. That's his skit. That's his thing.
That's his thing. You know? I'm not gonna do that. I might burn it later, but not on the show. I don't want to. I don't want to put all the smoke here in the office.
I could have turned this into a mask. I could have did that, but no. Like I said, we're gonna jump right into it.
Yeah.
And like I said, giving honest opinions. You know, of course, you start off. You see,
obviously, spoilers ahead. We're gonna do
spoiler
that.
alert.
Yeah,
we're
gonna spoil the book.
Right, and we can't show it because otherwise it would be kicked right off YouTube. You can't show this shit. So we tried it before, we got knocked off.
Right.
But anyway, so it starts off with King Randor, Queen Marlena, talking about, you know, just whatever the fuck, and this nonsense of all this story that's going on, and trying to use really intelligent, fancy words to make it seem like they're really thought-provoking, that they're really getting in depth with this. But it does start off, and you're like, you see this new fucking creature. It's an Orlax. I was like, okay, this is starting off not half bad. I was like, we got some new creature. It licks or touches King Randor and puts him into some kind of, like, you know, comatose state. And from there, eventually you had to go to Castle Grayskull. And once you get to Grayskull, you know, he's in this coma.
Yeah, you're just skimming right along through this thing, man.
Because I want to get to the shit stuff first. So I'm going past stuff that was kind of okay, but right when it gets to the sorceress and she explains about something like this happening to the past or one of your ancestors, and then when we get to the past, this is when it just goes right downhill. Because remember, everybody, this is inspired by Filmation. Not just the cartoon that's coming, even this comic. Remember, this is supposed to be all inspired by Filmation. It picks up right where it left off. No. You know, this is like you watching an episode. It's going on. So even the comics is supposed to have this feel of Filmation with the characters, the way it's written, the way you would read stuff.
Spiritual successor was apparently a term that Kevin Smith has since used recently.
Yeah.
Saying that it's based more on the toys because Filmation, of course, is owned by NBC Universal, and this is produced by Mattel. So that he was saying spiritual successor. So,
and this ain't even spiritually. There's nothing about this. It's basically, guys, if you guys are wondering, if you're a fan of the shitty classic bios and stories that we got for the, you know, that classics line,
this is for you.
You're gonna be all over.
You're in luck.
Yeah, this is for you. You'll love it because that's what this is. This is not nothing from the past. It is not from Filmation. It's not the vintage toys inspired. It's not vintage comics inspired. It's shitty classics bio stories and characters, and you'll know how and why when we start getting into this. But I'll pass it to you, Nathan, to part where you want to pick up when they hit the past finally. But this is when it just, you start getting like, what in the fuck is going on? Go ahead.
Yeah, there was a couple things I wanted to touch on before we sort of reached that point. First and foremost, I'll give you the credits for this. So the story itself is by Kevin Smith and Rob David, which I can see a lot of Kevin Smith influence in this because, as you said at the beginning, we're getting a lot of dialogue. I wouldn't say, you know, $10 words. We're not getting too big words, but it's just a lot of stuff put together that it's like, all right, it seems a little rambly, but whatever. It's the beginning of it is not too bad, I don't guess. But we have Kevin Smith and Rob David. The script is from Tim Sheridan, art by Mindy Lee, color art by Rico Renzi, and letters by Deron Bennett. And I'll say, art-wise, it comes close to matching with what we're gonna get with the show in a couple weeks. I wouldn't say...
It gets really bizarre though in parts. It feels like there was almost a couple different artists because I'm like, why does it look like this here? And then I go to another page and it looks like a completely different artist. It gets into some weird levels, especially when you'll see later. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, trust me, when you see, you'll know what I mean. Like when they showed King Hiss, I'm like, you know, that's a close-up of King Hiss, and it looks like it was a sketch doodle. It's fucking horrible, and I'm going to use that face as a meme for some future things. There's some crazy shit. Like I said, it started off with this Orlax thing, and like I said, if they could have kept all the nonsense of this past bullshit that you're going to see how it got warped to hell, I was like, okay, it could have been a cool story.
I'll read one of the panels right here. So we have Battle Cat saying this. It says, all we need to know right now is that it tells of the beast's mortal venom. What of the king? And the sorceress replies, if there is poison in his veins, it moves like the Orlax itself, with a magic hidden from my sight. Would that the beast were here, so I might commune with it, learn its secrets, and use them to formulate a remedy. Because as you said, this Orlax creature appears, touches King Randor, and then right as He-Man goes to take a swing, it's gone. So it's sort of established here that the sorceress tells He-Man, you have to go through the cosmic corridor. And that's when it honestly, it's when I was like, oh fuck, here we go. Like we're gonna do some time traveling stuff already in this book to because we have to learn more of the monster. And when you're there, when He-Man's there, you'll know how this this monster was here. And I'm like, huh? So it's already starting to lose me at that point. But Joe, I will pass it back to you because as we go through this cosmic corridor, we're going back to the past, and it's our
Yeah, and as he's going back, as He-Man's going to the past, he sees like flashbacks with him and his father, and with the sword, and then eventually it goes right to King Grayskull with one of his sons in a sword. And now that you see King Grayskull has two sons,
yes,
is Ro and Dare.
yes.
So it's like, oh, okay, here we fucking go. And that's when immediately, this is classics, everyone. Again, this is not Filmation. It's classics. But my God, you can't keep these as separate, like I said, as characters, as their own entity. It pisses me off because we've always wanted Hero back in the day with his story and the powers of Grayskull. We are so antsy for it, which this is a whole topic we're saving for this Sunday when we discuss King Grayskull in depth.
Yeah.
But now you see it's Hero here with King Grayskull. Everybody's got to be related to everybody now, which it's like, can we just fucking stop? And I know some people might say, well, Joe, I mean, He-Man could have been related. Of course, he's related to King Grayskull and NYP. And then in the past, for the vintage stuff, it was probably going to be Hero with He-Man. It's like, I know, but my God, can we stop just having everybody be related?
It's so
I'm sure they'll throw Keldor into this shit.
they make it so convoluted in this book, and you have to keep in mind that yes, this is supposed to be a prequel to an animated series, and as Grim too has stressed here in the chat, thing to note, especially with this, especially when it comes to classic bios, because I wasn't collecting classics at the time that they came out, and any time that I got any men on card, you know what I did? I took the figure out and threw it. I didn't read the bios. I didn't read the back because
you weren't missing much.
Well, I know, but this is not even me being told like, "Hey, these aren't that great." I just didn't care to, because if I wanted to do that, I personally would go back and look at like mini comics and stuff beforehand. I don't need to see this new. Everybody has to have a real name and all that junk. Like I didn't need that. So coming into this and having Grayskull is not so King Grayskull is not so much a problem to me, but once we start, here's Dare, here's Ro, and I'm like, all right, what's the family tree, and how is all this connected to everybody else now? And that's where I get lost. So I can't imagine if someone is excited about the Netflix series and picks this up, and all they know is like, hey, I watched He-Man as a kid, didn't watch.
They're gonna be lost. They're gonna be lost,
and I don't understand the logic behind that. It seems to me,
why would you want to do that to the? You would think you would want to keep it closer to, like you said, especially if they kept saying it's a direct sequel, picks up where the original left off. You would want to tug the heartstrings of the original fans who know this stuff. But now you're throwing so many new fucking characters, and in that cartoon we're getting Vicor and Wondar, and it's like, oh God, we got even more shit.
Yeah.
It's too much to process. And just by looking at this, again, if you guys haven't got it when you get it, you see the Snake Man. Tell me that is not exactly fucking MYP. Would they stop with it? If they would have just said, hey, you know what I think would have been the thing they should have said? This is picking up where MYP and the classic finals left off. That's what they should have. Well, in actuality,
they shouldn't have said. They shouldn't have said anything. They should have just been like, "Here's a new series." Figure and if they could
agree with you,
fill in the pieces better that way. I feel like.
All right. Because I even said that a while back. I said, you know what? They should have just said, here's a new cartoon. But this definitely, it's inspired by the MYP cartoon, the classics bios, and even the 2012 DC comics we got. Because as you'll see later, there's parts with that where, oh, okay, well, we had King Grayskull and Hero again related. And when you see later with the sword shit and how it's being forged, there's something similar that was in the 2012 comics with that too. But it's like, you guys are doing way too much. But anyways, so this Orlax, you see, it licks his one son, Dare, and puts him into this state of fucking,
the same state that Randor is in.
The same state. And then now you're seeing, I don't know, the fucking Council of Elders who are already in a ball form, which, again, if you remember MYP, here's the thing. I never liked King Grayskull and MYP. I fucking hated that character. We all expected Hero. But at least, no, I can't talk about that King Grayskull.
Yeah, I will say this, that I haven't watched that episode of MYP in particular, so... I
Oh,
do plan on watching that to prep for when we talk about King Grayskull more in depth this Sunday, because the reason that that became a topic, it's not so much based off of this, but we have gotten feedback in the comment section, take a shot, and also in the chat, and I think we had something there. Can you explain why you have an issue with classics? That now both you and Tyler can put that out
well,
there.
Comation. I'll say it. Okay, the reason I have such a problem with the classic stories is they basically bastardize. Is that a fucking word? I
Yes,
don't know.
yeah, bastardize is a
Everything we
word.
ever knew, because Scott Knight like threw so much shit. I mean, okay, another thing, Comation. They started giving us real names for every character. Do I need to hear that Beastman's real name is Rakol Rakaz? Do I need to hear that Merman's name is Squiddish Rex? And Hordak is Hector Kerr, or as you found out, which it shows here again, they're going by Classics Bio, that King Grayskull's real name is Devon.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need all these real names for? What I mean, really, Optics Bio was a series of blinks, if I'm not mistaken. People can correct me in the chat, but they were trying way too much shit. It was a fanfic when Scott did. It's basically a fanfic. Let's write all this stuff of stuff he'd like, and of course, he loved his Mighty Spector and time traveling, and now that has inspired this mess, which is going to lead to a lot of new mess, which is just a bunch of convoluted shit.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's like too much. It's like you're over fucking doing it. It's like sometimes, you know how they say, you know what they say, more is less, less is more. It's
Yeah,
like
less is
you didn't
more.
need to do all this fucking.
I mean,
Yeah, you didn't need to.
you're absolutely right, because if they tacked on a few things here and there to add to the mythology, sure, like no one would have a problem with it. The problem with it's just too much and it's not that good. It's like
Yeah,
completely unnecessary to give people real names or make these changes here when there was nothing wrong with it to begin with, and then be like,
exactly.
this is canon now. And
Yeah, and another
but
thing,
at the same time, guys, I know we ruffle feathers a lot on this show.
we sure
It
do.
doesn't take away that the
If you
OG
guys love
He-Man's
it,
there and Filmation's there. None of that's going away. It's not that.
right?
We just wish that if they were going to make changes like this, that it would like add more to it and not just be like, all right, well, who's that,
What? Why
and
is
what is
this? And
this?
then, yeah, exactly. And remember, if you guys like this, again, more power to you. But do we need a history of everything? Because remember, we even got a history of the power sword
Hmm.
back in the classic shit, to where the whole sword of he and the Trollan overlords and Hero, how he get, and it was a different hero origins. Like, oh, for fuck's sake! It's like just back in the day. This is the power. This is the one that's destined for a hero. One day he's gonna rise and he's gonna be the protector of Eternia. Simple enough. Do we need to explain? And then again, Comation. Do we need to have 87,000 He-Man? It's still, these are the protectors of the Sword of He. Here's another one. Here's Wondar. Here's
Yeah,
Vicor. Here's this dipshit. It's like, I don't give a fuck. It's way too much. Which leads to this. You see that his son is now, he's figuring how's he going to heal him. And you see that the elders talking with him, because they're in spiritual ball form now at this point. Something about a Preternian sword, the magic we would employ walks, and all this about tempering shit. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? In the next scene, out of all things,
yeah.
King Grayskull is making a deal with the devil, basically, who is Scareglow. So now Scareglow's the one who gives him this item he's going to forge it
Which
to
is
where he
pretty
forges it.
poorly drawn, by the way.
That's the worst Scareglow I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I hate that this is his debut. I wanted, and of course you're going to see, as they, pointed out here, we're going to see something with Scareglow later. They're going to do a comic, probably see what happened, what the deal is that
And
Grayskull made with him.
another thing that I hate about this page is the word bubble for Scareglow. It's typed like lowercase, uppercase, uppercase, lowercase, lowercase, uppercase, where it says "Take it and leave,
It's
fearless
supposed to be,
fool." And it
yeah,
just
it's
it
supposed
just
to
looks
be,
bad. It looks like an old AOL Instant Messenger username from the late '90s, early 2000s.
it sure wasn't what I was expecting from Scareglow. But yeah, so he gives him this item, which now Grayskull, along with you seeing the fucking Trollans again in back of him, are sitting there. He's forging the other half of the sword that once it's fused with his, boom, now it gives the power sword.
Hmm.
So you know what they've done already to King Grayskull, if you guys remember watching MYP, and I won't go in depth because I don't want to ruin it for you, Nathan, but they've made this King Grayskull weaker and lesser than the original King Grayskull. He's not more powerful. He's not more badass. He's not better to say, God damn, look at what they did with this upgrade.
Hmm.
It's a downgrade. The original King Grayskull, the power came from him. So this King Grayskull doesn't even have the honor and respect of having the power come from him. It's from a shit sword from or a part that Scareglow gave him to make one half of the sword. So this evil sword, this good sword, bam. But they're making, hey guys, we're doing it like the old days where you fuse two swords together, you get them together. It's like, oh, okay, we get the gimmick again. And we know that King Grayskull forged swords together in the 2012 shit comic series where he made the Sword of Power and the Sword of Protection. But they're going with that again, and now we got this. But I'll pass it to you. But there is so much going on. It's like, you guys, calm the fuck down and just tell one good story.
Yeah.
But they threw in about 10 to 15 things in this one comic. You can't tell me that's a good thing.
No, it never is. And I know that part of that, and I haven't, other than the multiverse books, I haven't read any of the 2012 stuff. None of the crossover stuff with Thundercats, none of the crossover stuff with DC. Maybe at some point I will torture myself and read those just so I know and fill in the blanks a little more with like just what's happened to this property in the last 10 years in comic form that just continues to make you angry, make Tyler angry, make some of our viewers angry, or to kind of also understand why people do enjoy it and like it as much as they do, which I would like to know more of that. So any of you guys watching this after the fact, please leave a comment. If you did enjoy this book, let us know what you liked about it. I would like to get both sides of the coin of how
we're not telling
people
you to hate
are.
it. Again,
Yeah, absolutely.
This is our opinion. If you love this, again, great. We hope you enjoy it. That is fantastic. I'm just saying of what we don't like about it, some of the confusing shit, what they should have toned back on. But yeah, it was really disappointed to see what they did to King Grayskull. Even though I hated him in MYP, they just shit all over this character now and made him like he was basically worthless. I mean, really worthless. And what do I mean by that too? Who saves the day here in a little bit? He-Man. So I'm thinking, well, what just happened? Did He-Man change the possible what was going to happen in the future? Was King Grayskull supposed to die by this Orlax? Because here comes He-Man to intervene and chop off that fucking limb before it killed King Grayskull. So it makes you wonder, what would have happened here?
Well, isn't there wasn't there something in here to explain? Doesn't she? Ah, yeah, there's the part right before He-Man goes through the cosmic corridor where she says, the corridor is a pathway through space, yes, but also through time. I told you the Orlax had met the Sword of Power before. Perhaps there is something in that meeting, in that time, which could point us toward a cure for the king. It will take all my focused strength to keep the door open for your return. When you have found the answer we seek, reach out to me and I will bring you home. So she's kind of alluding to since this creature has met the sword before, that maybe she has already got that premonition that He-Man has already taken a swing at it.
Don't
maybe.
you hate that? I know what you mean with that, but I've always hated that shit with these time travel things. Like,
I don't like it either, because now
it's
King
like,
Grayskull and everybody sees He-Man in that time. How does that alter everything else?
Well, remember, he never gave his identity, but what I mean is,
which they also made a point to kind of really toss out there, how the secret identity is very important.
Yeah, and then out of all things, the Snake Men saying that to King Grayskull, and that's why he came after his heirs. And they were like, if you would have maybe kept their identities a secret. Well, let me say that exactly what happened. King Grayskull said, why would Hiss use this beast to attack an innocent boy? And then one of his snake warriors that's getting killed said, if you wanted your heirs to remain innocent, you should have kept their identities a secret. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, thanks for the tip there. Okay, here's another, foreshadowing. But so the thing is, when you start interfering with the past, it's like, okay, so then it was always He-Man that was meant to do this, which also means after he saves him, well, you see that his one son that got, put into that state of comatose, well, he's dead.
Yeah.
So Dare is dead. Ro is the only one that survived, being now to become hero. But you definitely get another thing from He-Man. He says, it's time for me to go, Your Majesty. The Snake Men aren't the only evil force in the universe bent on learning Eternia's secrets. Perhaps it's time to disguise the location of the Hall of Wisdom, something menacing, to frighten even the great Orlax of Eternia. So it's like basically, so now He-Man's responsible for
Primaria.
I'm sorry, Primaria. I'm sorry. Please excuse my ignorance when reading this shit. But anyways, even the great Orlax of Primaria. And then you see Ro or Hero say Orlax, like another, like how Grimm said a Back to the Future reference,
This is confusing to me because you're saying Ro and Hero, but down here at the bottom of this page, here's I guess
It is. Yeah, that's
he's
Hero.
already.
Rogue.
So this is all right. So he goes through the corridor and he's looking back at Roe. So now these last two on this page are kind of him seeing what the future is. Then
Well, remember, let me get to that just a second. First, let me say about the thing about, the castle. So now He-Man's responsible for Castle Grayskull looking like it because obviously he told them about it. So He-Man's responsible for another thing. And then when he mentioned the Orlax, you see Rose say, Orlax, like, mayor, I'd run for mayor. So now he's responsible for that because he says, oh, well, I guess I now know how it got its name. So because Hero remembered it. But then when he's going back into that portal,
yes.
he's now going into the future, so he's kind of seeing a little future events of what did happen as time
Okay.
lapsed with Hero and King
Yeah, I
Grayskull.
guess I wasn't paying as much attention to that the first time around when I read it earlier this afternoon. I should have paid attention to the color change. It's like, oh, all right, he's going through this, and now it's taking him through the future, and he can see some of this
Yeah.
stuff. All right.
Well, yeah, now you can get, and Kamation did jump in to say to each his own. He said, I still think the new stuff is going to be bad, though. Oh, believe me, we're right there with you, buddy. Okay, so now let's get back to more Filmation-inspired stuff, because when you look at this
Spiritual
next scene,
successor, Joe. Come on.
I'm sorry, I keep screwing up.
This is the spiritual succession going on here.
I got to get it right, man. I'm just learning this stuff. But so you see King Randor, you see Prince Adam, you see all these crowns, about choosing this bullshit, and because it's another memory he's having. But as this is as this is going on, you get to another convoluted bunch of fucking dialogue where I'm like, what's going on? King Randor says, oh wait, let me get to that one part.
Yeah, no, we'll just get to the part where Randor is saying, I wanted to be a champion. I wanted to be the champion like He-Man, but I learned the hard way that was not my destiny. So
yeah, so I'm like, okay, sir, are you saying that King Randor knows that Adam is He-Man and he could have been He-Man? It's like, what the fuck is going on? And then he says, He-Man is an idea. I hate this bullshit nowadays where He-Man's an idea. I think they even said that for the upcoming Candyman. Candyman is an idea or some bullshit. The new Candyman. I was like, no,
wait,
these are these
actually,
characters.
That's how we can replace it. Just be like, Candyman is an idea. A good one that rallies the people, makes them feel safe. He towers over us. And he should, because he isn't one of us. He's Candyman, but you can't say his name. How is it? 3 times or 5 times that you say his name that he appears? But don't you have to do it in a mirror, or is that Bloody Mary?
Yeah, you have to do it. God, fuck no, Candyman. I thought Jesus Christ wasn't a mirror.
I
was
can't
it 5?
remember. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Oh shit!
Since
I just said 3 times. I hope it don't happen. It's been a while. But
I know
way,
Beetlejuice is 3 times, but I don't know if Candyman is 3 or 5, or if you have to be in a mirror. But I want to say that's Bloody Mary.
I feel like Candyman was 5. Damn, it's been a while. But let's get to this next part. That is. Oh, and by the way, the reason this shit kills me, again, more like, oh, this is really Filmation inspired. When did you as a kid ever look and think, hey man, I wondered if King Randor would become He-Man? This never crossed my mind, because back in the day, for the books we read and for this cartoon, it was He-Man is the destined one. He's the one that's there to get the Sword of Power and protect Castle Grayskull. He was always the destined one. I never thought, man, it'd be cool if King Randor would have got it. So when I read that dialogue, I'm like, what are we talking about?
Tyler's in the chat room. He says 3 times in the mirror. So there we go.
3 times in the mirror. There you go. All right. Well, I hope this doesn't count as a reflection.
I'm sure he's probably like stabbing a screwdriver in his ears right now from just everything.
Can I get to the next? Get ready, guys.
Let's it was 5 times. Where we left off on that bubble of He-Man as an idea. Just read the rest of this. Just read all of it.
Get ready. Soak this in, everyone. This amazing dialogue. Okay. He-Man is an idea, a good one that rallies the people, makes them feel safe. Makes them feel safe. He towers over us, and he should, because he isn't one of us. The champion is the keeper of secrets. The king should never hear of burdens the king should never bear. That puts a big enough target on his back that if I were He-Man, the only way I could rule Eternia would be in disguise. And then Adam says, that doesn't seem very practical, so it's like you're under the impression that he doesn't know he's He-Man. But let me get to the best dialogue. King Randor says, it isn't. He says, which is why we're the scepter and he's the sword. That's what keeps you and your mother safe. I wouldn't have it any other way, and neither should you, son. And here we go. You ready for the most Filmation-inspired dialogue? You ready?
Oh, well, we should set this up that Randor is telling Adam this as Adam looks on at this table that has 5 different crowns with different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, Adam's not really about wearing crowns, doesn't
They're
want to,
about to go
but
to a
they got to
party.
get this. They're about to go to a party, and the last thing is, now please, will you pick out a damn crown so we can go to this damn party and drink some damn wine? Like, yeah, that sounds like King Red. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is dialogue that you. Yeah, sure. That's all
Spiritual
Filmation. Everyone.
successor.
Spiritual successor. And you know what? Even let's get Filmation out of this for one moment. I don't want to fucking hear that at all. I don't care if it was the DC comics back in the day, the mini comics. This is dialogue that's out of place in this world. It doesn't sound right. It sounds fucking horrible.
Well, I mean,
So there's that.
even if it was part of this world, just the redundancy of saying "damn" 3 times in one sentence like that is just not. It's just a poor choice of dialogue.
I
Period.
guess he had his Florida moment from Good Time, like damn, damn, damn. Is that what it's supposed to be?
I really don't know. That makes
So,
that makes no point. But after we get done with that little flashback scene, He-Man comes back through the corridor. Randor's still there, and that's when we have Orko saying there's no way to remove the venom, and He-Man says there is no venom, Orko, not a physical one anyway. There never was, and that's kind of when I wanted to beat my head against a wall. It's all in the mind,
yeah,
apparently, and it
yeah.
doesn't
So this
exist.
creature, yeah, because basically you see this creature was sitting here for a reason. They're trying to figure out what it was, but it was the same creature King Hiss used, as we've seen way back in the times of. I'm not even saying Preternia anymore because the Preternia, as we know it, with Hero and Gigantosaur and Titus, Megator, and all that stuff, that's you might as well say kiss that shit goodbye, so it don't exist. But there's a reason this thing was sent here, and she wants to communicate, but she's wondering, what could it have been that sent it? And then, of course, in the last panel, you see it's Skeletor, because at the beginning of the comic, they said, he was all gone, he was dead, and you see Evelyn and back of Skeletor, and he's wearing some shit on his head. Obviously, it's like controlling that beast, the Orlax, and that's where it's going to leave off to go into the next
Yeah.
issue.
Well, I mean, we can read that. Or he's like, get it back. And she's like, I can't. The sorceress magic is clouding the regenerated creature's mind. Because you have to think, we kind of have to go back a little more because we get more dialogue of He-Man explaining how the Orlax traveled here from another dimension. And this is its home. And unfortunately, first being Snake Man. And of course, yeah, sorceress got it. Anyway. Where were we? You'll have to find some other way to kill He-Man. He-Man can wait. I was this close to translating the Orlax warning, the whole reason it came to Eternia half a millennium ago. Now get it back, and that's what we're left off with. And then the next issue on sale, August 11th.
Yeah, be ready, everyone, because I'm sure it's going to be a hot seller. But again, so now you created a creature that if it wasn't for this creature, there never would have been the swords that would have been brought together. It's just, it goes back to all this time traveling, mumbo jumbo bullshit, too much stuff. It's like, why make it overcomplicated? It was, back in the day, simple to the point, and you could have even expanded slightly, but this much behind every fucking thing just makes you think, what am I reading, and why is this just so fucking over the top? But it makes
where
them
do they
seem
go from here, and how does this work into the Netflix show? Obviously, I guess the Orlax is going to sort of be the downfall of both He-Man and Skeletor, that I guess maybe they'll vanish in the same way the Orlax vanished and go to a different dimension. I don't know, man. Like it's where they're going with that, I have no idea. Well,
Oh, and yeah, that was the thing. I think Grimm said. So he's like, "Wait a second, how was the creature captured? Palace guard had no effective weapons against it. Well, this one, at least towards the end,
here,
remember
no,
it regenerates."
I'll read all. Let me just read it to you. All right. He-Man says, hundreds of years ago, the Orlax traveled. No, I'm reading it all. The Orlax traveled here from another dimension. It's home of Primaria. Why? We may never know, unfortunately. The first beings it met here were the Snake Men, who, realizing its attempts to communicate with Eternians proved fatal, enslaved the creature and used it to attack King Grayskull and his family. And Orko says, You met King Grayskull? Yes, and thanks to the sorceress's magic, I also witnessed his creation of the Sword of Power, which he used to sever a limb from the Orlax and frighten the beast back to Primaria. But the limb, ... and Man-at-Arms says, You say you brought one of these limbs back here to our time? And He-Man's like, The sorceress is with it now. Teela says, Where? So now we get the panel where the sorcerer, the Orlax, is behind like this little fortified electric fence, we should just say. The cell is fortified with the sorceress's magic. It's sure to hold. And then Orko says, I'll still keep my distance if it's all the same. Tila says, so the severed limb, like the serpent's tail, regenerated itself into the full Orlax. And He-Man says, allowing the sorceress to try and safely commune with it in the hopes of learning how to heal King Randor of his affliction, and perhaps what brought the creature to our dimension in the first place. Man-at-Arms then says, strange that it should be frightened of us when it knows we're no match. And then maybe it's just that. Maybe it doesn't want to endanger us. And Orko says, but we're not in any danger as long as it doesn't touch us. Man-at-Arms says, perhaps it knows it can't control itself. And He-Man says, or put another way, perhaps it knows it's being controlled by someone else. And then that's when we get to the Evil Lyn Skeletor final panel. So there you go.
Here's the other thing. I just figure it's any
What
touching.
The fuck?
Obviously, it's a touching.
What the fuck?
Well, touching with its tentacle or limb. But did anybody else pick up with the part that, remember when King Grayskull comes back with his blade to take on and hopefully fight and kill this Orlax, and you see King Hiss there with the Snake Man talking about, well, got both your kids. Did you notice in the background that the Orlax is holding Ro too? So it's like, wouldn't he have been infected, or did he touch him in a certain way it didn't bug him? Does it have to touch his skin? It's not just if it touches his outfit. It was like he's holding both the kids in his hands. The Orlax is holding, where he's saying, the power! Look at the Orlax. He's holding both the kids. So
and I never noticed that before.
Yeah, so whatever. I mean, King Hiss's face of disgust is pretty much says
maybe
it all
the
about
Orlax just picks and chooses, or maybe, Ro.
Yeah, because it's his mind.
Ro is a chosen one, so maybe
he has to think about who he's going to touch, and so guys, again, it's our fault.
I didn't even notice that. Why would they let that slip through the cracks?
They don't know either, there, Nathan. That's the
problem.
Because
Ro, if being touched by this thing puts you in that state, Ro would also be in a comatose or deceased.
Well, this is when we have the experts come around that love this comic and would say it's because of this, But hey, again, if you liked it, great. But this is one fucking abomination of a story. I can't even imagine where they're going to go next. But here's the weirdest thing: remember, this is the prequel thing, and I think is it 6 issues or 4 issues this is running? What the fuck did they say? Anybody out there know?
I can look it up. I thought it was. I didn't think it was going to be 6.
Okay, maybe 4, because I'm getting to a point here. Well, either way, this is supposed to be the prequel, and assuming that all of the comics you read are prequel before this series comes out, why wouldn't they release this comic even earlier? Because remember, this month on July 23rd, you're going to have the 5 episodes.
It's going to be out, and we'll watch that before the second issue even comes out.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's like it makes no sense, and for those to say, well, the second season or the other half of the
4, it's 4 comics.
It is 4?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think January is when you get the next episodes after July 23rd, but it's not good. If you guys want to buy it, I'm not wasting no more money, though.
I'm done with this. There is a part of me that is morbidly curious. I'm like, well, what else are they gonna do? Before.
Oh, I'm gonna see what the rest is, because I can't go in and then they'll say, well, Joe, you don't know nothing about this. Like, no, I'm gonna tell you about this and tell you about that. I just want to see how much they shit all over it, but I'm not paying money.
But it goes back to the old adage: if you guys like this shit, I'm glad that you do. But even for me, like, I'm giving it an honest chance. I'm not this person that's like, I'm not Tyler and Joe. I'm not going to sit here and be, as I said last week. The show comes out, and if anyone's probably going to find more positives than negatives in it, it would probably be me, because I don't have as much invested in it. I don't have all those years of being attached to this property hardcore and being super excited and invested in NYP. I was excited for it, but it just kind of like dropped off from it. So if I'm feeling this way, then I can't imagine how some other people would feel if they grabbed this. And like I said before, if they were excited about the Netflix show and they're like, I'm going to pick up this comic and see what it's all about before the events, what happens in the show, and they read this, they're probably going to, I would feel like anyway, be like, what's going on? Because people want, like, He-Man fighting Skeletor. That's what that casual audience knows. It's what they're used to. You're throwing in King Grayskull and time travel and tentacle
A lot of
monsters
shit that's
that don't infect you with venom. It's all in your mind.
it's something that
I
could have
don't get
worked.
it,
Like, let's say there
man.
was no revelation. Let's say there was no revelation at all. And back in the day, we had our one-off issues. Or even if they made it a two-parter, this could have worked. Meaning, get rid of all the stuff with King Grayskull and the stuff from the past. A different way they could figure out how to fight this creature or something. And bam, hey, that was a new creature. That was interesting. But it just fell fucking right down. It fell off the cliff.
Yeah.
Right when it hit that stuff from the past. Now, if you guys are wondering, tune in this Sunday because our topic is going to be King Grayskull because it's basically MYP we were discussing. But now we do have to talk about King Grayskull here as well because you're going to see that this King Grayskull that they just created made him weaker, made him not as important as the original. And why would they fucking do that? Why would they make King Grayskull now somebody who is not important? Which we're going to discuss this Sunday, along with seeing his one kid that got killed. He had two sons and one got killed, but this is all coming this Sunday. And it's kind of embarrassing. Like I said, I hate King Grayskull, but what an embarrassment of how they just shit all over and made him like an absolute nothing in this
I
new
think
comic.
that there would be a way if it could be done right. I think there is a way to make King Grayskull work within the context of this story somehow. Like overall, like adding that character into the mythology, there is a way to make that work. I feel.
In which we're going to talk about Sunday. We will say what they could have done, but yeah, I mean, just like I said, MYP, though, I always fucking hated King Grayskull. I was always wanting Hero, but we'll get into that.
And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about why that was such a jarring thing for not only you and Tyler, but a lot of other people in the community, and kind of break that down.
Oh, wait.
And
real quick, I'm sorry. Grim did bring up the other part I did want to mention. At one part during this this comic, King Grayskull talked about how he wanted to feast on the flesh of this Orlax. I'm like, oh, this isn't work. This ain't Conan, Chief. This is not type of Conan dialogue.
But that would kill you.
It would. Well, it could.
It could.
You don't know. Mean to kill you.
I mean, if it's alive and it touches you, it can mess you up. But what could it do when it's dead?
That dialogue
it could be
is so
poisonous,
out of place.
But not.
Yeah,
But maybe not venomous. Maybe it just goes to your mind. So
they tried, like I said, They tried barbaric and Conan type dialogue. It did not work. It's like this doesn't. Fit
I've clearly offended Tyler. I think probably with my line of saying there would be a way to make King Grayskull work in the context of the mythology. Him and I will have a conversation about that.
You know what's going to happen Sunday?
Days, sure.
That's how it's going to start. Tyler's going to start off. He's like, okay. Now, Nathan, we have to address something. On Thursday's episode, what did you mean? Or not, I'm sorry, he'd be like, what the fuck did you mean about King Grayskull working in the... Nothing can save this character.
Yeah.
He's shit. He's got, he'll go to that. But if you guys did have any questions you want to hit us with right now, go ahead and we'll get to some questions. Or even your thoughts. If you read this, let's hear what you thought about it as well. And let me see. Tough Toy Nerds said, I literally found more disdain for this comic given its horrible coloring book artwork. Yeah, it does have coloring book type of artwork. But, I wish I could show you guys, but we'd get kicked right off. If I showed you that panel with King Hiss and even the last page with Skeletor, I'm like, what the fuck is up with this? Sometimes the lines looked real thick. It looked like it was sketched and not finished. Yeah. But that King... I'm sorry. Oh, and I'm sorry. It wasn't even King Hiss. General Hiss. I forgot to mention it to everybody. He's General Hiss in this. So, not that it fucking matters, because it's not like anything would save this story. But I'm trying to look back and see that part with... I wish I could show you guys. I'll do it on Fans of Power Facebook page. I'll post that.
And I know some people were expecting blood. I'm not going to just get on here and just be really, really shitty about it. But yeah, like, I didn't like it. I thought it sucked. The story's pretty fucking bad. It doesn't... to me, I feel like... I don't even feel like that's reflective of what we're going to get as more, like, with the show. I feel like the show is going to be slightly different than this, but probably not by too much, but maybe not.
It's going to be the after...
all of it's going to be bad.
Yeah, because, you think, I'm surprised that in this issue, even though they got right to what they want to do quickly, you figure the next issue, you're going to see more of the heroic warriors or the villains. And as much as I shit on Stratos, I'm wondering, is he going to be in this comic? And if he is, will he get killed off? Because I'm surprised Stratos hasn't been shown for that new cartoon. And I hate Stratos, but no, I understand he is an important character in the cartoon series and in the comics. I don't like the figure, but that shocked Stratos isn't being shown.
Yeah. Here's something already. Thoughts on the Revelations Faker figure, the Masterverse figure.
Good question, Porik. Hey, Porik, could you
Thought
let
it
us
was
know if
Porik.
Porik is right? Porik,
No,
Paris.
it's
Can I call you
Porik.
Boylan? Porik. All right, Porik.
Porik. Yeah.
Okay.
Pawrick.
He's gonna like you're all wrong. That that Faker Revelation or Masterverse figure is different. Okay, here's the thing. I know in the cartoons, of course, it was easy just to make him. It just looks like He-Man, but his eyes glowed.
Mm-hmm.
We all wanted the blue one, which we're going to be getting in a fantastic cartoon someday, an episode. Turn a Faker. We'll be seeing a real fucking Faker. But when it comes to a figure, that's the thing. I still like my blue Faker figure. I don't want him to look just like He-Man, but now you strip off part of it and you see the metal underneath. Oh, just give him a whole metal bald head. I mean, Jesus Christ, you guys know I do copycat, but it's still a blue cat. I've done battle damage Faker, still blue Faker with little metal underneath. But they're showing a lot of shit. I was like, this looks just like a fucking Terminator figure. It doesn't. It looks like it's from another universe. It don't look right. It looks out of place. But it's based off of what you're going to see in the cartoon. I'm not thrilled. I don't know. But Tough Toy Nerd says he's loving the Faker figure. I'll be purchasing the toys for Revelation. Well, Tough Toy Nerd, if anything, could you paint him blue? Could you make it look a little cooler? I can't feel that.
It doesn't bother me so much. He's not blue. He's going to be accurate to what they're doing, as you said, in the cartoon. So whatever is what it is with that.
If they like him in the cartoon, I'll understand. They will love the figure. And yeah, for me though, I just always loved the blue figure. It's the same thing when some people who watch, back in the day for Filmation, they never understood the blue figure back then. They were like, why didn't he look just like He-Man? I was like, but if he looked just like He-Man, what would you have painted the eyes white? Picture that being sitting on my shelf right now.
And parents wouldn't have bought it for their kids either, because they would be like, you already have a He-Man.
They would have immediately said that. They're like, but mommy, his eyes are white.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't give a fuck. No, you're not getting it. That's He-Man. You already got that figure. Here, you want another one? Just dot the eyes with some white out, like how I used to paint my figures. I used white out sometimes. It was real cheap. That's what I did with Breakdown, my one custom figure, the first custom figure I ever made.
Is that the one I uncontrollably laughed at?
That wasn't nice if you laughed at Breakdown. You can't laugh at Breakdown. I'm trying to move to see if I can, where the hell is, right here. So I think I just pointed to him. It's like, man, you can't pick on Breakdown. Hold on, I got to block the screen and then I can grab him. So you guys, let me, a second.
Give me a laughing fit again. Aaron Voorhees says, I almost spent $30 Australian on this. Almost got it off of eBay as we don't have it here in Australia. But thanks, guys, for the review. Looks like I've dodged a bullet. No way I'm getting it now. Joe, are you...
Save your money.
Oh, okay.
I'm still here.
Oh, yeah. You just covered your thing. I thought maybe you accidentally hung up or something.
I want to make sure I was blocked because I have to get up and I don't want you guys seeing me. I don't want to knock anything over. Don't knock over the media orbs. Please, God. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
You keep talking to Aaron. I'll in a second.
Okay. K-Mation, even though I was born in the 80s, I learned about King Grayskull before. I learned about Hero. The first time I heard about Hero was in Classics, and I thought that the bio and what they did was okay. I can't speak for speak for those guys at all. I'm kind of under the impression that most of the bios to them just weren't good based off of what they were doing. We were talking about the Hero Classics bio and how K-Mation said he thought he or she, I don't know your gender, what they did was okay with that. So
and I can understand if that's how K-Mation was introduced, and I'll tell you why what we thought about it here. I mean, this Sunday. So please tune in this Sunday. You're going to see the reason why we're so passionate for Hero and why it was such a fucking upsetting turn of events when we seen King Grayskull. But I could understand if somebody's seen that. Sure, it looked cool as hell, especially when he said, "I have the power."
And what was that shit? Wasn't that the Classics comic? Right, where Hero dies within like a panel that we did a few episodes ago.
Picture us waiting over 30 years to have the so-called next installment in the Powers of Grayskull mini comic, and it says Hero Unleashed. You're like, oh shit, Hero's finally gonna have his time to shine. You know what he did in that fucking comic? Nothing, but he got killed. But that's great. He was unleashed to die.
Go back and watch that episode. Let me see when that was.
And glad you joining us, K-Mation. It's always good to have new people here and hoping you're enjoying the content. Aaron Voorhees, yes, said almost. Oh, yeah, because Aaron messaged me today, said, hey, Joe, you think you could pick up that comic for me? He's like, I'll pay you the money. And Aaron, I was waiting for tonight because I was going to say, watch our episode because I figured then you'd see why I didn't respond to you. I was going to say, you don't fucking want this. Now, can I show you a creation that you better not laugh at? Now, picture Joe Amato.
Episode 264. Go back and watch that episode, and that's where we talk
Yes.
about that reimagining and Hero and everything.
That will give you some context, but picture young Joe Amato hungry for new action figures, and he makes his own custom using a Madball minifigure head and part of a trap jaw, and you got Roboto, and you got Prince Ham legs, and then that right there, that's whiteout. That's what I used to paint with, was whiteout, and it's still on there to this day. This is the first custom I made when I was just a kid, and I've kept it in my collection ever since, and I call them breakdown because basically like he's a broken down bunch of parts. This is a great fucking. This should be. Hey, how about that? I make my own cannon and I put breakdown in, and he's the main guy.
I mean, you could get Deucin to redraw that for you.
He shoots bubble gum out of this gun right here, and then it kills the Orlax. So, does that sound nerdy? I think that'd be kind of cool. Do it, Deucin. Could you? All right, there. Now let me get to some of these other questions I seen because I thought Papa Huds or Zen Brown or somebody had a fucking question for me up there. Papa Hud 69. Joe, did you ever get any credit for Copycat?
Nope.
Yeah, I think you know the answer to that. That shit ain't ever gonna happen.
I think amongst the fans, Joe has gotten the credit. Amongst people like Pixel Dan, he's probably got the credit, but to anybody at Mattel or anything, absolutely not.
Yeah, Dan's cool people, and I thanked him for that, and that was real cool for him to acknowledge me like that and talk about that when he was doing the video on those PowerCon exclusives. That was really cool. Febmon, thoughts on the Revelation War Sled? There's an image of it on Entertainment Earth with Beastman for the. Oh, those I never.
That's out now.
Those are always fine. Yeah, that's the thing, and it's in another country. They always get that shit first. You seen that, and that's where I first seen Beastman in his new look. You know, the one that he's going to get later in Revelation. He comes with the War Sled. I was like, I never have a problem with that. It's like, that's fine, and it's cool for anybody that collects the minifigures, and yeah, no issue with that at all.
I still haven't seen this image.
You haven't? Type in Masters of the Universe Minis Beastman War Sled, and that should bring it up. It should. And Eric Sanchez says, thought Dare was son of King He-Man. Yeah, that was another thing.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, the stories are just, they're everywhere for this new thing. It's like basically they dumped a pile of knowledge into a bag. They reached in there and just grabbed whatever shit they could and said, okay, let's work with this. And that's what they did when they came up with this story, because there's no rhyme or reason to absolutely anything. Tough Toy Nerds, or Tough Nerd Toy, sorry about that, said, hey, Joe, do you like the Mondo? Hey, I fucked his name up. Now he's going to be like, Joe, I'm unfollowing you. I'm unfriending you on Facebook. Fuck off. But he says, do you like the Mondo Masters of the Universe figures? Oh, God, yeah. If I could afford them, I'd get every one because they are awesome. There's some big suckers. They're well worth the money. They have tons of interchangeable parts and pieces.
Well, you have, what, He-Man?
Well, that was gifted to me by still I don't know who, and I'd love to think.
I mean, you still have it, though, so.
Oh, yeah, I have it. Well, I mean, he's like, do I like them? But yeah, it's like I don't have
they're great.
Others.
Just a little pricey.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's actually worth it if you got that money. They're big bitches for $150, and with all the stuff they come with, it's like
Man at Arms looks really, really great. So did Merman and Scareglow.
Yep, and Scareglow.
I feel like all of those look better than Hordak look better than He-Man and Skeletor. Honestly, I like all those better.
Tyler said King He-Man was fanboy crap made up by Scott. It's just, you'll hear everything. Anybody that's now watching, remember, join us Sunday at 9:05 TBS time, Eastern time. But join us because we're going to keep going with this, and there's a lot more. Yeah, Eric just said confusing. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, because Eric Sanchez said here, thought Dare was son of King He-Man.
Yeah, I just told him. I just said that just a bit ago.
Yeah,
That's
why I was reading all of that. So when I was seeing like King Grayskull, all right, and then they had Dare and Ro, I'm like, okay, like I thought Ro was Hero, and I'm like looking stuff up and then there's like He-Ra, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? And there's like all this family tree shit, and I'm like, who is everybody? So if I'm sitting here doing this, I can't imagine what someone else just walking into this be like, oh yeah, new He-Man comic book. What? Okay.
Yeah, it'll blow your mind. In case you guys keep wondering why I keep fingering my eye hole, it's because this is the new mask I just made. And just before the podcast, I tried to widen it by sticking my finger in, and when I stuck it in the hole, that paper has been poking me in the eye. So every once in a while, I keep doing this, trying to get that out of my hole. What did you hear?
Oh, it's just pouring down rain.
Okay. Tough Nerd Toy says, I love the Mondo Masters of the Universe. They are gorgeous. Yes, they are. I mean, they are. Papa Hud 69 said, did the Meteorbs ever have their own vintage commercial? They did. There was a commercial for the Meteorbs. You can find. They go to YouTube. You'll be able to find the commercial
Yeah,
for them. More
there's a
characters.
couple of like big compilations. Yeah, it's pouring down rain. Yeah, there's a couple
Yep.
of vintage commercial compilations that I think they're hidden in there at some point.
I think, yep, and I think Mendoza Customs. I think he's doing this to try to rile us up. He says, "I think a Revelation He-Man is coming from Mondo on the 23rd."
Eh,
I hope not. He says apparently San Diego Comic Con is on the same weekend. Well, I don't think they'll do that, Mendoza. If they did, that would
I wouldn't put it past them, but also I don't mind the look of He-Man in the
Hey,
Revelation
wait,
cartoon. I think the
I
animation
gotta
and
take
everybody
that
in there
back.
looks great.
Wait, let me pull that back. You're right. I'm sorry about that, Mendoza. If they did, you're right. I'm thinking about the cartoon, but yeah, that would look great because he does look good in the cartoon. He looks horrible as that Masterverse toy with the peanut head and the smiley face and the terrible face sculpt. But Mondo, they'd be able to sculpt the hell out of that, so they would actually make it good. So yeah, I'm sorry. You are correct. That actually would be one badass thing. So I apologize. Eric Amon said, I just want to say hi and what a great conversation. Even though your opinions are sometimes wrong, I love you anyways. Oh, piss off, Eric Amon, you fucker. Sorry, love you. Um, Gamation, from my understanding, Scott was not involved in 2000X, so how is King Grayskull his idea? No, trust me. You'll just tune in again this Sunday. You'll see what we mean. You're right. He didn't have anything to do with that, but you'll see what we mean about his idea and things changing when it came to classics. Classics started getting a whole new canon, which was all his, and interesting take to say the least. JSP question: is this supposed to be a direct sequel or spiritual sequel? If it's spiritual, then perhaps Kevin Smith needs to be reminded. Oh, remember JSP, it started off, it was supposed to be, as for the series itself, yes, because they promoted it as He-Man's back after 40 years, and it picks up right where the original left off. That were the exact words. Now it's a spiritual successor.
And
It's like, no, it's not even spiritual.
and once again, I can't stress this enough. He's just the hype man. He's just the guy that they picked because of that and his intertwinedness and how people look at him and think, oh, nerd pop culture. It's all he is. He's just a vessel for this thing. Nothing more, nothing
But he's
less.
bullshitting some stuff
I mean,
too when
yeah,
he's sitting there
but
saying
fuck,
some of
man.
the stuff. So,
Once
but you're
again,
right. He is a hype
if
man. Pay
Netflix
me, I'll do it.
if Netflix came to my house with a dump truck full of money, it was like, hey man, you don't know shit about
I do it
this.
too.
Go,
I do it too.
please hype the hell out of it. People
Oh
people
sure.
like what you have to say. Yeah, please. I'm
Oh yeah.
like, all right, yeah, sure. How much is it?
Right.
$12 million, of course. What can I buy with $12
Oh,
million
oh shit,
dollars?
yeah. I mean, if people will, like you said, call people out on bullshit, more power to them. They'll do it. Of course, we all do that. But yeah, if somebody gave money, you'd probably be like, yeah, this is the best cartoon in the
Oh
fucking world.
fuck
I watch
yeah,
it all the time.
sell out in a heartbeat.
I love this.
Can't stress
Like
that
me, I'd say,
enough. Sell out in a
Nathan,
heartbeat.
you know what I'd say?
If sponsors came to us and they're like, you know what, we will start paying you X amount per episode if you just come on here and plug our shit and pretend you like it and be happy about it. Yeah, you guys are gonna be real pissed off because I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, let me talk about Blue Chew. Dick don't work no more. Take one of these, and you'll be hard blue steel.
I'd be the biggest fan of G.I. Joe, and I've never watched. I love fucking G.I. Joe. This is great.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe is my favorite character. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about, Joe? There is no G.I. Joe character. Well, there's not. I thought there was a guy named G.I. Joe himself, wasn't there? I don't know. I know nothing about the
Did you
cartoon, so
watch
there.
that one episode that Tyler sent you the link to yet?
I didn't, Tyler, and Tyler was going to kill me. I told him I was going to watch it that night, and I didn't. I tell you what, I'll do it tonight, and I'll tell
No,
him
you
about it
won't.
tomorrow.
No, you won't.
This one's a truth.
No.
When I say I'm going to tell the truth, I swear to God I will.
Yeah, all right. Sure.
How much longer do you think Masters of the Universe Origins will continue? 2 more waves? I mean, Monkey Boy, I really wish it would go on for a long time. I have no clue. I wish the line could continue to give us all the characters we had before and then some. I want more. I want characters from the mini comics. I love other characters from cartoons, other media. I don't know. I mean, the distribution, as you know, is kind of weird, where other countries get it first, United States gets it last. I can't explain it, but I hope it doesn't go away. Needless to say, I don't know what the future holds, but I hope it doesn't go away
Yeah.
because It's the one line that does seem like it sells pretty well, and I don't know if I have much faith in the Masterverse figures or even the new Kitty version. I don't know how that's going to sell. I don't see them going to, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah,
But Origins, I wish it could keep going on.
it's all up in the
Um,
air. This property's in a weird place right now where they want to do so much with it, but you don't know how it's gonna take hold with
Well,
everybody.
Convoy's been calling me butter because of my butter thing with the Reese's Pieces. That is some good shit. I'm gonna get people hooked on that stuff. So you guys can call me butter.
So
It's good butter.
what how do you do this again?
Okay, and I swear you'll fall in love. Just get some real butter and have about a quarter cup. Melt that in the microwave. I don't use a
Like what
stove.
kind of are you using, like a pint glass, or are you just using like an old
Just like a ceramic cup or whatever the fuck you call them. Just like a cup,
a
glass.
coffee
You know, like one
mug?
that has a handle. Yeah, like a coffee mug.
Okay.
Get about a quarter cup of that. Melt it in the microwave. Then get just a box of those Reese Pieces, the standard box, like I showed you the picture of, and then just dump it in that cup. Then get a spoon. Go to town. You're gonna be in heaven. That goddamn, I wouldn't steer you wrong. That is good shit. Anybody that's never tried it, you're gonna fall in love. Nathan's gonna try it out of curiosity, I hope.
Maybe. Have you ever
Nah,
tried
man.
nacho cheese and Oreos? I think I've asked this before.
No, but I'll eat it. Is it good?
You should try it. It's not bad.
You're talking to somebody who's eating out of dumpsters, so yeah, I think I'd
It's
enjoy
not too
it.
bad. So I'll exchange one weird food thing with your food thing, and that's what we'll do.
Okay.
I will try the butter and Reese's Pieces if you try nacho cheese and Oreos.
I'll do it. Okay, good. I'll get a if I can, I'll get a container of that Fritos nacho cheese that you dip in, pull the can back. It's like the bean dip, that Frito can of nacho cheese sauce.
Yeah. I don't know if that would work as well. They have another one that you can get if you go.
Is it too expensive though?
I, I,
I like
I
$1.99 or less. Let me
it
get
might
to.
be less than $2. I don't know. You do it your own way.
I will
Figure it out.
try it. Well, Tough Nerd Toy says, as a black man, the new tokenized King Grayskull has no hood past original King Grayskull is allowed to do as he pleases in the hood. So, and if you guys don't know, again, check out Tough Nerd Toys' channel. Danae's a great guy. He's really passionate, just like we are, about everything. So if you want to
And
hear his
Sunday
opinions on
we will go into a little more detail about
yep, we'll go
your
into
comment right there, because I do
we'll
think
go
that
into
is something that needs to be addressed.
yeah. And even Grimm said they bleached He-Man because you know what's weird? He-Man is a lot lighter in this new comic and cartoon. It's like, have you guys ever seen Prince Adam and He-Man next to each other in the Filmation cartoon? It's like there is a complete difference. He-Man is super dark. My dad always said that was his joke. He said, "Is He-Man Italian?" Because my dad is really dark. I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. I'm half Italian, but my dad is full-blooded Italian, so he's super dark. So he always thought
Oh
He-Man. And he'd
man,
like joke, like, what?
your dad is Big Sal Graziano.
No, he's like I said, he's dark. He has the black hair. I got the
Tony
super white
Mamaluke.
skin. So,
Big Vito.
but oh god, you bringing in some wrestling shit
Yeah,
here?
wrestling shit. Little Guido.
Yep.
Who else was in the
Let's see.
FBI?
The full-blooded Italians. Oh, god,
Shit. Oh, why can't I think of his name? Now I gotta look him up. That's gonna bother me.
now he's got to Google that shit. Let's see. Fedmon's or Grimbot said to Fedmon, the way Power Sword creation was presented here, it's like She-Ra's gone from this lore. Yeah, basically how they did this, because unlike the other stories from the 2012 DC stuff where King Grayskull forged the Power Sword and the Sword of Protection, now he just forges this sword. There is no Sword of Protection. So the thought of She-Ra even popping up in Revelation, how's that even possible now?
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Nothing.
Yeah, it's like there's no way.
Tracy Smothers. That's who it was. And Nunzio and Johnny Stamboli, which Nunzio and Little Guido were the same.
Tracy Smothers was in the FBI.
Yeah.
Wasn't he one of those hillbilly cowboy guys or something?
He used to do dances with them
Oh, sweet
back
Jesus.
then.
All right. Madosa Custom said he never wanted the origins. Now he has all of them. Yeah, it happened with a lot of people. A lot of them.
I think a lot of that too with some people, and it kind of happened to me very briefly, was just that fear of missing out when they came out. You're like, all right, a new line, I can start on this fresh. And then I was like, well, I got a big portion. You can see kind of there in the corner. I got a huge portion. I think I'm only missing 4 or 5 vintage figures. Wasn't really a point unless, I have a Scareglow, and I got some of the WWE ones that I thought would fit in aesthetically with the
Yeah.
vintage stuff, so I picked that up. But if,
Yep.
like we said last week, if they came out with an Icer and one-off
That'd be cool.
characters, I'll get those.
Yep. Yeah, it'd
Because
be
they
great
would
to
be
have.
great to put them there with all the vintage figures. But
Yep.
yeah.
You never know. But and let's see. Pop Hud said, Joe, do you have vehicle customs? Oh, I've made vehicle customs. I've done stuff for well,
Well, I mean, you got one right
Night
there
Stalker. Well,
to
yeah,
your
and
left.
yeah, yeah. I'm pointing on the right side. This is it's all complete. I'll be showing it tomorrow. I said I was gonna do it Friday, so I'll show it Friday. But that's my Battle Cat cycle. I added all the extra details. It looked badass. But no, I've done things with the Wind Raider, Battle Ram, Night Stalker, Stridor. I've done a lot of the other vehicles and stuff too. So yeah, I've done some custom, even the Road Ripper. So let me see. Trying to scroll down of what I missed. I'm sure I might have missed some questions or comments. Did you see anything I missed, Nathan?
No, not really. Just kind of more comments and everything. I did see that second wave of Masterverse figures where it's gonna be what Beastman, Man at Arms, Tila, and Spikor.
Yeah,
Pre-order
yeah. I think
listings for
that's
those. So I'm kind of curious how Spikor is gonna look. But they had it in parentheses,
there. You go.
classic
Some
and
said
modern.
classic. Yep.
Yeah,
Spikor says a classic look. Tila says a modern look. So that means you're going to get the short-haired version with the armors. It won't look like how it was
that'll be
pre.
a lot of people's favorites, right?
You never know. So yeah, we didn't see pictures of any of them. And
I don't have
yeah,
a I
Beastman.
don't have a problem with that. By the way, I don't know if I ever said that on the show out loud, but I don't have a problem with the modern Tila and her short haircut. I know people are like, "Oh, X, Y, and Z about this," or speculation. I'm like, I really don't care. It's a change in look. Time has passed. I it, I don't know. You wouldn't expect everybody to look the same after what events may have transpired in this first episode, and
What we noticed, well,
wait and
basically
see.
what we got out of it is Tila got mad enough to cut her hair, and Evelyn got mad enough to let her hair grow.
Yeah,
So go figure.
yeah.
I don't know. There you go. Cheers. Have a drink. I was trying to see if Beastman was the modern, or if he was
I can
modern,
look
or
it
if
up.
he was the classic
I'll
style.
look it up real quick.
Yeah, because I'll admit I'm not really a fan of this modern look. They took away all of his armor, and he just looks strange. I hope that his is the classic look, and that's on
Well,
Big Bad Toy Store, right?
yeah, but it looks like they took away the verbiage on here. I remember seeing that.
Are you shitting?
Yeah,
That was all there the other
I know it
day.
doesn't say it now. It just says Master Universe, Revelation, Masterverse, Spikor, Beastman,
No.
Man at Arms, Tila. So there's no, huh?
Why did they do that? Why the fuck would they have done that?
I,
Did they give away something, or
maybe Mattel threw the hammer down. Let me look and see. Yeah, because I think it had it before in the box contents. If you went to the Wave 2 to buy them, it had them there too.
it is gone? Huh? Interesting. Well, at least we knew of some of them before it changed. But yeah, it's
I bet Mattel came down and was like, "Hey man, that's those are spoilers." I mean, Skelegod's out in stores right now, so I don't see why that
clogging
matters
the
too
shelves.
much.
By the way, unfortunately, that's
Yeah,
sad.
I went to Target yesterday and there were 4 of them, and I was like, "No, okay." Just kept on walking.
Yeah, so and that's why we always say try to be patient, because what's even crazier is seeing that Rise of Evil 2-pack that they screwed everybody with. Where they're like,
Yep.
God damn it, there's only 2 per store. Now those are flooding all
Yep.
of Targets. There's tons of
Hmm.
the Rise of Evil 2-packs. Like, God damn. So, but with a horrible Cronus face, Keldor is nothing but the Classics head. It's basically they used that mold and bam, gave you the Classics head of Keldor. But Cronus, they tried something new and whew, it failed.
Yeah, it
That's
doesn't look that great, but I did pick up that 2-pack.
oh, okay. Well, I feel sorry for that head.
Well,
But
is what it is. What it
all right.
is.
Well,
I can
think
send it to you and you can fix it for me. How about that?
I'll do that. I'll actually give you a proper kind of Cronus looking badass face.
I might do that because I'm
Do it. I'll
not
give
happy
you a
with the
proper one.
face, but I would like to have a Cronus that looks pretty good to put on the show.
Okay. I'll do that for you.
All right.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much the end of the questions and everything. So, guys, we do hope you enjoyed this bonus episode for today. And remember, we are going to be going live this Sunday at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube for our next episode. So definitely tune in for that one. It's going to be fun. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
I forgot to do wrestling trivia again.
Again? Are you fucking kidding?
I,
You know that when we do these episodes, you gotta have a wrestling trivia something. So we're gonna be left with nothing again?
uh,
Oh, for sake.
unless I can come up with something off the tippy top of my head.
Way to blow it, Sid. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's supposed to do one thing at the end of the show. He can't even fucking get that right.
Oh, well, I mean, we could talk about all those times that I tell you that you need to click participants instead of whatever as you read in the chat room, and
Well, what
you do
happens
that
is
every week.
my computer locks up on that shit,
Yeah.
so that's why I can't do it so well. All right, well, I guess there. No
Well,
question.
Graham 2 said Tyler's in the chat. He can say the quote. I bet he's already shut it off by now.
Oh, he's like, yeah, I can't do it no more. He's like, done. Done. So, all right, guys. See you next week. Or for Sunday. See you Sunday.
See, well, I mean, technically, for some people, that would be next week.
Yeah, I guess that makes
It's
sense.
the
See you
start of
Sunday.
a work week, and yeah, changes that. I'll get wrestling trivia next time you and I do one of these together.
Sure, that ain't going to happen.